Joe Biden's brain and body because he is in he is facing very serious. What is it? Senescence? Is that the word?
Senescence.
Senescence. Senescence. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. He's old.
Yeah.
To translate that. Breaking: Biden falls during Air Force commencement ceremony on video. Yeah, this was brutal when I saw this. Yeah. I'm gonna let's make this a video big, so you can watch.
I call this crumpling to the ground. Oh.
Yo, that was bad.
Oh my God, the reaction of everybody.
Oh, and then he can't get up.
Did they cheer?
Yeah, they did.
They're cheering for
some were like.
I think they screamed.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they thought he got shot or something.
He doesn't have the muscle mass to lift himself up.
See?
Damn.
Screaming, yeah.
That's quite a digger.
Yeah.
Took a digger there.
There's another.
Oh, there's another angle.
There are other angles, yeah.
Really?
Shows a girl walking towards it, watching him fall, then turning and walking away all
Do we have
awkwardly.
any? We just have him falling up the
I
stairs.
think Jack Posobiec tweeted it earlier.
Yeah, let me see if I can find Posobiec's tweet.
This is rough, man. This is the commander of our military, and who's having a hard time getting himself up off the ground after he fell.
Why did he even fall?
Dude.
Where's the...
Like I said, you can see a black sandbag at the bottom left, and he points back at something when they stand him back up too. So it does look like he tripped over something, but still, anytime somebody that's old trips and falls, it's never. It can cause serious issues.
She's like, I'm out.
Hips, you're thinking
Trump's
hips.
reaction.
Yeah.
Here we go.
He's at the Air Force Academy. He actually fell down. Well, I hope he wasn't hurt. I hope he wasn't hurt. But the whole thing is crazy. You got to be careful about that. You got to be careful about that because you don't want that. Even if you have to tiptoe down a ramp.
Oh my God,
dude, he's so funny, man.
He's tight.
Did you guys see? Someone retweeted the old article from CNN. It was like, why? What do they call it? It's like why the ramp story matters, and it shows Trump walking. It's like a smooth metal ramp with rain on it.
Yeah.
What is Trump supposed to do? Run and slide down?
my favorite articles are when it's like, this proves he has dementia. And then you watch something like that, and you're like, he doesn't have dementia. Yeah. He is throwing out bangers.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be real. I'm gonna play this video for you guys one more time. We'll zoom in on it.
All right. Oh, all right.
Okay, here's what I want to highlight. All right, let's get the slow-mo replay here. He's standing here. Look at his left leg. His left leg does not go up. His right leg goes forward, and then he goes straight down.
Yeah. So his left leg either tripped over something, or he double stepped, or tripped over his own foot. Yeah. This guy in the front is having the time of his life.
This dude on the right.
Look at this, right in the front.
Smiling.
Oh, he's
it's the biggest
so happy.
moment of his career.
Look at it, ready?
Yes.
He's like, yes.
I mean, he just graduated, so he's getting commissioned.
And the president's right there. I mean, it's
oh my God, he is just living the dream right now.
He's not a good president, but still, it's got to feel good to be graduating
and that's the scene forever now.
Yeah. But so here's what I'm saying. You can argue, there's a sandbag on. There was a sandbag on stage or whatever, and it's like, dude, no. No.
Is there any video where we see the ground?
Yeah, you can, if you scroll forward, yeah.
Okay, there.
Just a little bit. Right there. You see the black thing on the bottom left corner of the screen.
Right there. Is that where he tripped?
You can see it right here.
Why was there a sandbag?
But why did he turn left and just fall?
Yeah.
I think it's an excuse. I think he just fell. He's an old man. Oh, and then he points like, something happened. No. Look. Was his right foot in the sandbag already? Because look at his left leg. Look at his left leg.
It doesn't. He
goes forward.
It actually twists.
And then he falls.
It almost looks like he was propping his foot. Like his foot was on the side of his foot was connected to the sandbag, and when he turned, his leg never actually turned. You can see it.
I don't want to be too hard on him for falling on stage. I've fallen on stage. In fact, at the Turning Point USA event, I fell off the stage.
That was because you walked off.
Because if you don't do your diligence before the performance and you don't scout the stage and get familiar with where the pits are, where the chords are, and then
lights are blinding.
You're looking at the audience. You got bright lights.
Yeah.
It can be dangerous. So you got to know stage presence. But it's his inability to get back up that really concerns me.
Let's play it.
He tries to lift himself up and can't, and they have to help him up.
Yeah. Well, that's happened when he fell on the stairs too. He was kept getting blown around by the wind. He couldn't get back up.
Well, when he fell up the stairs, he got back up real quick.
Did he? I thought
he was numerous times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Old people.
Numerous times he fell up
really
the stairs.
fast. Really fast. Yeah.
It could be disorienting too. If he'd just fallen and didn't really know what happened, and all of a sudden was on the ground and trying to get his, and he's also obviously got dementia. So, just trying to figure out from there, like just being a person whose brain isn't even all there, like what just happened, trying to make his hands go in the right place. And
I want to measure
what I
his
was
grip
thinking?
strength.
I was thinking that the world ended in December 2012. Because I'm just like, and I'm kidding, by the way, but it really does feel like
the Mayans, what it was, the
That's the-
prediction was that the world that we knew ended.
and that's a good bit. But I'm thinking about how I can't remember what was going on. We were hanging out somewhere, and I think I was playing Three Dog Night, and then somebody said to me like, "Oh, you're like playing the oldies," and I was like, "Isn't that funny?" I don't know what year. What is Three Dog Night, like late 60s?
Yeah, early
And,
70s.
and I'm like, if you were a kid in the 90s and someone put on Three Dog Night, it was old. Yeah. And it was 25-year-old music. Now, I go to a grocery store, I go to a restaurant, and they're playing Stone Temple Pilots.
On the oldies channel.
And it's just like something happened in our society where everything just stopped being real the way we knew it. And maybe it's just because we didn't live in those times. But like, I look at this video. Here's why I bring it up. I look at this video and I'm like, there's no way this is what the American office of the presidency was supposed to be, right? Like something doesn't make sense. Even Donald Trump was weird.
I have a conspiracy.
You have a conspiracy.
Oh.
When they turned on that atom smasher, they tore open a hole in the space-time continuum and
The Hadron
unleashed
Collider.
whatever the hell has happened.
People think that the Hadron Collider turning on triggered the oncoming of Trump. No, it was Biden. It was like Trump was supposed to happen because he's a maverick and he's like Reagan in a certain sense. But Biden. So when I see him fall here, and I'm like, does no one around think something is wrong? Like, dude, this is how many times has he fallen? They're gonna have him run again. It feels like everybody is standing around watching the naked emperor walk down the street, and they're all like, "Oh, how wonderful, how amazing!" And I'm just like, "Dude, has this country already fallen apart?"
I think they have control. They have whoever is really pulling the strings because it is not him.
No. I think the opposite. There's no control. They're like, it's 2019. They're like, "What do we do? What do we do?" I don't know. Trump's gonna win again.
Well, they have
Joe Biden.
He's a
like,
puppet.
are you crazy, Joe Biden? I don't know what to do.
He's a puppet of. I would think, honestly. I mean, if I want to go into my other conspiracy about this, it's
A puppet of who?
Obama.
It's
It's Obama's agenda, and this was his vice president, and so he can't run 3 terms. So
And they tried to run Hillary in 2016.
yeah. So he's the one pulling this. That's my theory. I could be wrong.
possible. I mean, a lot of people think that. Doesn't Obama live right by the White House?
Yes.
But I look at this and I just can't believe there's any real organizing force. I mean, certainly there are people with power, but the Democrats have no one. The problem on the right now is that there's too many. Trump and DeSantis are too good. They're both too good. And now people are like, well, DeSantis is bad. No, Trump is bad. And it's like, they're both just really good and arguing about who's better. And then you look, even Tim Scott is good. And Kristi Noem is good. I don't think they'll win, but there's a big lineup of high profile people on the right.
Yes.
With 2 major contenders, of course, Trump being the obvious front runner. On the Democrat side, they have nothing, literal nothing.
Gavin Newsom.
But
Barely. And they're like Michelle Obama or Oprah.
Pete Buttigieg.
But George Soros's son has taken over his legacy as well and has full access to the White House. That came out a couple months ago. So he visited the White House a ton of times last year. So he's basically taken over his dad's White House visits.
George Soros' son.
I'm just saying, when I bring up the music stuff, it feels like there was a cultural cohesion to this country, that things may have been bad at some times. There may have been crime in like the 80s in New York and all that stuff, but there was a cohesion to it. Now it feels like everyone knows it's not real anymore and it's all broken apart, right? Like, how would you... We can describe the 70s. We can describe the 80s. We can describe the 90s. We can describe the 60s. We can describe the 50s. We can describe the changes and when they were coming into place. We can talk about how in the late 60s, the clothing started changing, which became the dominant trends of the 70s. And then the late 70s, clothing started changing. And then we saw the dominant trends of the 80s and, what like hot neon tiger striped hot pants or whatever.
Remind me. God.
And then the 90s with like, flannels and acoustic guitars or whatever.
Jenko jeans.
Jenko jeans with hip hop and all that.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s are a blur of mangled nonsense.
9/11.
I think that was also the internet, and so all of because the trends used to come from the coast and they'd move inward. So like Boston, California, you know, those would be the trendy places, and that's where the trends would pick up and they'd move inward. But now we have the internet where everybody gets everything at the same time, and all the trends are shifting, and everybody wants to be the next big thing. And what we get is a shit show. We get chaos. So
It all
that's
happens
why,
at once.
Yeah,
Well,
it's completely.
It's information overload. But I mean, what you said earlier, I think that there should be an age limit to when you can run for president, run for Congress, everything like that. I mean, there's, who is it? Is it the Congresswoman who,
Dianne Feinstein.
Yes.
Yep.
Who was wheelchaired into the.
She looks like the Crypt Keeper.
And she asked Kamala Harris, "What are you doing up here?"
Yeah.
When she was speaking, when she was presiding over the Senate.
She's there to check a box. Yep.
I mean, and she's just. She doesn't know what she's doing there, yet she's casting votes.
Yes.
At the least, a grip strength test of grip strength, because that's like an indication of muscular atrophy. If you can't pick yourself up off the ground, I don't think you're fit to command.
Yeah.
Let alone the mental stuff. That's a little more challenging. Of like, are you smart enough to do the job? Like, who tests for that?
And I mean, you got to look at, honestly, like after 9/11, George Bush like went to ground zero and put his arm around the firefighters. Like, we're going to do what, you know, and he was just this force that everyone, you know, felt safe watching after this horrible event happened. Would you feel safe being in the hands of Joe Biden after this awful event happened?
No,
you know?
I feel like I got to protect him.
Yes, exactly. That's your instinct. You know, just as a human being, like, this is an elderly man who's being exploited.
I was thinking a couple days ago, the United States, it's not really a country. It's not a place. It's an idea of a bunch of states that have decided to unite for the betterment of all the states. And we could technically have that all over Earth. Like, we could have a giant states united across Earth, whatever, the United States. Here we are. Now it's just more states in action.
Yep.
I don't know.
This one, man, it seems like the last 20 years, sorry to interrupt, have been a bit, like you said earlier, chaos. I think you mentioned that, chaos.
I don't know if it's true, but there's that line in National Treasure where I think it's Nicolas Cage. He says that before the Civil War, people would say the United States are, and then afterwards they would say the United States is.
In these United States.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because there was an idea that the states were each what they are, 50 separate sovereign entities with a trade agreement is what the states are. Yeah. But then after that, it became really cohesive, and it was like one thing. So we are the United States. We are one entity. And you think about it, like, the states already blended together. People didn't really understand the purpose of them because of civics not being taught in schools and things like that. People didn't understand this. Sure. So now, since COVID, we're getting 50 separate states that you can clearly identify. Like, you're going to go to Florida because they're not going to give sex changes to children, not because it's sunny. Like, you're going there now because the kids are safe. You know, you're not going to go to California because you want to see the Hollywood Walk of Fame because you'll probably get murdered. You're going there now because you want to visit wine country up north where it's safe.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.